Welcome to This Week in Jump, number 15, part 2.
Continuing off of the last one, we have number 13, Haikyuu, chapter 350.
This is another really fast chapter. They're tied up 13-13. Karasuno's down a set. And, swapping up their rotation. They're betting everything that their team can, get a set back. Because if they don't,
they're out.
They're out. You can't let the protagonist go out like this unless they're going to be doing something else.
I don't see that because they built up the Bakudo game that has to happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would be kind of disappointed if they we had an entire arc of them just playing that game, and if that's not capitalized on, then that would be completely odd.
Yeah,
and wasted.
Yeah. So Hakuba serve. The first one goes in. They're able to get that first point, but then on his next serve just gets blocked and they lose that point.
Yep.
Okay, 2 points down really quick.
And then we have Kageyama serving for Karasuno, and he's actually able to play a little bit of mind games with them, and that was actually really cool. Yeah. He actually makes How guess, oh, they're not going to hit it to me. They would never do that. They're going to hit it probably more towards the center. Yeah. And then he's like, I got it, when it starts coming towards him.
He sees it spinning a little bit differently.
Well, he sees his other teammate notice it, so he's like, oh, he has it because he's closer in front, and I'm all the way in the back. So surely he'll get it. Goes right past them.
Right in between both of them. And he's just dumbfounded, oh.
I was supposed to get that?
You called it. Of course you're supposed to get that one.
And their coach is just going, ah!
Literally, just going, ah! This is, again, national level.
Yeah.
They're making
rookie mistakes. It's mind games.
Also, when you're playing long enough, your body's tired, your mind is tired. Simple mistakes start showing themselves.
Yeah, isn't this the second game of the day for them? Mm-hmm. So, they're already going to be they have to be tired from the first games they played that day. I don't know how they can do it. Play 2 games in one day. That's just tiring. Mm-hmm. And everybody's like, oh, that's why Kageyama is so scary. He's a prodigy. He's going to be one of the up-and-coming players. He's still a first year at this point.
Yeah. He's got several more years to improve.
And then you have Shinsuke from one of the previous arcs where he was criticizing him, calling him a goody two-shoes. He's like, oh, maybe he wasn't such a goody two-shoes after all. Maybe he actually does have some skill. And on Kageyama's second serve, Kamamide was actually able to rally. They try and spike it. Karasuno blocks. Tanaka hits it back up. Skeed hits it. And then Asahi tries to get it in, but he's just met by Kamamide's wall. They block it, and they get a block point. And
after that, he notices that there was a gap there beforehand.
Yes.
But they did that intentionally.
Yes.
So that he would
go there.
They would guarantee him aiming there rather than the riskier other shot where his other where hands already were.
Yeah.
They're getting into his head again, and the ace.
Well, the OG Little Giant's like, hey, Ace, don't let them break you.
Yeah.
You need to just keep going, keep trying.
Yeah. But it leaves off on a somber note of the Ace just, admitting that he messed up there. He got played.
I won't get fooled again.
Yeah, again, Haikyuu, not bad chapters, and really quick. It's hard to put them so much higher for us.
When there's moments of like
growth.
really, yeah, or like extremely stand-up moments. The Kageyama thing was really cool. Otherwise, I probably would have put something higher. I'd put double Taisei higher or something else. But yeah, it just
Okay.
one of those. Number 12 is The Last Sayuki, Chapter 12. Ironically, 12 and 12. This series is setting up
A much bigger world.
yes
Than-
than I thought it would be.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be his temple and more shonen-y with the little aspects of spiritual area. Nope. This is going in a completely different direction than I originally thought.
So they're on the small island that they teleported to through the
Tori.
Torii gates. Gates to a gate. And Estelle's wondering why they brought Koharu along, because she can't use a Niobu and strike at people, and she can't kill monsters, so why is she here? And they're walking around, and Ryunosuke asks basically how they got the information. There's apparently informants around
The world.
the world that do this, but they don't come and fight. And
They are literally just informants. They might know they are too afraid, so they can't get any closer without releasing another monster.
correct.
So why not?
And that there are about 500 people in Japan that have the ability to use a Niobu, and they all cover about 3 city-sized areas of the country at any given time. But if necessary, they can call for reinforcements from those people. And as they're walking around, Koharu senses the presence of a monster. And they all turn around, they form a box formation. And they see a dog. But that ain't no normal dog. It has an eye in the middle of its head.
Yeah.
And then it stretches its head and starts attacking them. Ryunosuke does a defensive pose.
Where
But-
Nero
Dead attack.
strikes it in his head, slicing it.
The image and lesson that he teaches him here is actually very valuable. It's attack first, never defend first.
Yeah.
First rule of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah. And Nero's Nyobu takes the form of a bayonet. Like, that's really cool. It doesn't match as much as I thought it would be with his outfit. But seeing it like this is like, okay, yeah, this is alright.
But it's because he can't change the shape of it like Ryunosuke can.
Mm-hmm.
So he had it basically custom where he just extend it and it's already sharp. Estelle's is the baton from Ling Ling.
Yeah, it's
Sorry, the mace.
similar to a mace in medieval times, where it's used to... Maces were used to bludgeon the helmets of knights because it was
Armor
malleable
back
metal, so that if you concuss someone into their head was... or it was likely to tear the armor of the head and directly make it stab into the head, killing them nearly instantly.
Yeah, it's a blunt force
Yeah.
instrument. Yeah, terrifying weapon when you actually think about its application.
Yeah.
And so they're looking around the town now, now that they've killed the first monster, and they see that there was a boy afflicted with it. He's on the ground. I think he's dead. And it's cholera. But cholera has been manifested as a monster,
Yeah.
and they call it a
Koroi.
Korori. And so Nero pulls out his Nyobu, and then is going to... It's so dangerous because it's very infectious. And so he basically stabs into the boy, but like I guess he can do like precision and move around onto the body and get the monster to come out and kill the diseased monster.
That's why I think the person's alive, because he's not touching them, but the mouth is being forced open. The mouth is restraining these things. I think he's alive. I think he's just very weak.
Could be. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
Yeah. And he thinks it's highly likely that everybody's already infected with this thing. And as such, he's like, okay, this isn't something that 4 people can handle. I'll call for reinforcements. And Estelle, you go ahead and stay back.
Yeah, like, why only me? Like, are you saying I'm not as good as these other two? Like, since she's been trained to do this, and these are brand new people. Like, no, this is a disease manifesting itself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to say anymore.
Referencing the previous chapter where they introduced how that she was infected with the disease and her mother had to die to save her.
Rid of it, yeah.
So she's like, I'm not scared, and he's like, that's an order, and then she grits her teeth and then says fine. And then she's escorted by Koharu and Rinosuke back to the Torii Gate. And he's like, huh, never received a compliment from him. Well,
Nero gets a phone call. Buzz, buzz, buzz.
They can't come. There's no Torii Gate. And at the same time, Estelle, Koharu, and Rinosuke are seeing that the gate is destroyed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how did they have time to do that? Like, how long were they there?
Who knew that that's how they teleport?
Fair point.
Yeah, like, there's much more than just the disease at foot here. This might be where that medical doctor is
From before.
and knows a bit more about these people. Not enough to go in there and fight them off and kill them at their home base, but enough to really mess with them.
Next on my list, I know this is going to be controversial for you, but Black Clover 206.
No. I understand. Black Clover has been so high up the past couple of weeks, it had to be time to it finally go down a couple pegs.
Yeah, and since you said that, I'm almost positive it's for the same reasons that you'd have put it like similarly lower than prior weeks. So we find out that Yami isn't dead. Yeah. Charla isn't dead. They're just slowly having their magic drained because she's defending them with her roses. And then we cut back to the fight that we were just about to see start between the devil, the prince, and now
Asta, and
the Lich was already fighting them.
Yeah,
fighting him, but now everybody's in the same place. Asta fangirls for a minute and then is freaking out over the legendary Wizard King.
Yeah, like, he's trained right underneath those bones. He knows that's him. I'm sure Asta has climbed up there and saw.
Yeah. And he's also like, that lady's key seems familiar. When it comes to Sekiri. Dear. And so she goes to Licht and then is able to unseal his curse that he has on him, freeing him.
Because she was told, just before, she's useless, sealing magic's really dumb. Like, oh, well, what if I learn how to do different stuff and be able to unlock literally anything else? Including some spells on people that transcend time.
And he's like, thank you for everything.
Yeah, Lumiere.
And then he's finally able to give Patry closure and tell him, like, I'm not really glad at what you did, but I understand and you're forgiven.
Yeah, and
you tried your best.
You see an emotion other than just pure rage in the elves. You see sorrow. Devil's like, oh, this is so nice. Like, I'm gonna swallow all of you whole.
And then he rears his attack back up again.
The maggots.
Yeah.
Like...
But the prince and Licht ain't having it. They unleash an attack to destroy it. And they're incredibly quick, and they're actually complementing each other rather well.
Yeah, light magic and more light magic.
Yeah.
They're both light magic.
Well, it's like he's reflecting the attack right here.
Yeah. Well, that's what that blade does.
Yeah.
So it absorbs magic and it can thrust it out and out.
It works.
Yeah.
So the prince stabs through the devil, and the devil kind of like makes a grunt. But then he pulls out a pitchfork.
Oh, very fitting. I loved it when I saw it.
I was just like, oh my god.
And with that,
cuts off his arm.
Cuts off the prince's arm.
But Asta appears, and his anti-magic is able to, I guess, fight back against the pitchfork.
Like, anti-magic.
And that's where it ends. It's very abrupt ending, but like everything about it was it's still good.
Yeah, this is where the fight really starts. Now that I think the good side has enough fighters and enough strength, I think now they can do a dedicated chapter to just fighting next week.
Yeah, because they did all. This was literally just the setup before the fight.
There's been so many chapters that have been set up for fights.
Well, that's what shonen is. It's set up for fights.
I know. I said something dumb.
It's.
I don't know what that was, but I agree.
Electrical noises. Electrical noises. Circuits can't process. Next is number 10, Samurai 8, Tale of Hachimaru, Chapter 3. We're introduced to
brand new samurai.
Brand new samurai. They're looking for survivors from the pig attack. And one of the survivors is actually trying to fight them, because I guess they don't recognize them.
Yeah.
And when he tries to pull his sword, he's not able to, because in this world they have biometric IDs for the blades. And I guess if it's not your blade, you can't wield it.
Yeah.
But in particular, he says that only I can draw it, but that wasn't his blade. Did he drop it? Did I not notice that? No.
So look, he's holding
a blade.
So he's holding it right there.
Yeah.
First panel. And he's no longer holding it in that panel.
Yeah, so did the guy grab it?
So the guy most likely threw it at him to push him off. I think that's what happened. I think he threw it at him, because look, it bounces off there, where he was.
Okay. That's odd choice of disarming.
He has 2 katanas.
Okay. See, that wasn't expressly clear to me. I was wondering...
and this is still kind of reaching. It's very hard to tell here.
I mean, if this was an animation, you could tell he went whoa, and used it more of as like a boomerang. So yeah, he knocks the guy down, and he's like, "Oh, you guys are with the Akagi castle."
And a tank full of bandits attacked out of nowhere. Like, a tank.
Yeah, it looked like a giant cake.
Yeah, like that's a great description. I was not expecting. Like, oh, what does this look like? Like, oh, can you describe X, and you make it just, something cute, like a cake,
or just food related.
Yeah.
And Hachimaru is still having his conversation with, oh my god, the shut-in girl, Nanashi.
Like, I knew it started with an N.
I was like, it starts with an N. And we're told that that Hayataro officially is considered a key holder.
Yes. And you can clearly tell that was like, maybe... Or what I thought would have been more of a secret is apparently not. If
random dojo kids know what it is.
Yeah.
It's not secretive knowledge.
Yeah.
And like, oh, you're like an official samurai. At your age, you're so young. Oh, wow.
Yeah, like your holder, this one's a dog.
And Nanashi takes off because now they're focusing on him.
Yeah.
And he's talking to Hachimaru is focusing on them and not talking to her anymore. She goes off and she's like, I'm just not like him. And then she kind of has like a little pity party. Because I guess she just felt conflicted that he's more like a shining star and she's...
Everyone's drawn to him like flies.
So,
like, do you really need a friend like me if people are drawn to you like this?
Correct. Then you have the them having a conversation, then bam, blast. And now their dojo destroyers is like their official, what they're branded, these pigs.
And he's eating a fish fillet or a fish steak and wine. Is like such a
random assortment of things to eat.
Also, it looks like a red. I'm not sure how many reds go well with fish. Usually, you want something a little bit more light and bubbly. But whatever. He's a pig. He doesn't care about the delicacies of food. Compares
finer points of wine consumption.
Yeah.
So Nanashi hears the explosion and starts rushing over. A second barrage is fired. This time Hayataro blocks a blast because Hachimaru couldn't draw his sword in time.
Yeah.
Because it's not his sword.
Yeah. Hayataro creates a giant barrier that protects all of them. Like, this is pretty cool. He did it of his own volition, not Hachimaru telling him to do so.
So he's able to make decisions.
Yeah, like, that's really cool.
Still his own being. This actually infuriates the the tank people because they think that this is a low-class area.
Yeah.
Nanashi finally gets to where she can actually see Hachimaru, and she's like, Hachimaru figures out this isn't his katana, and he recalls what happened earlier. Another volley is fired at him. This time the barrier doesn't hold up as well, and he loses his arm. Mm-hmm. But it's okay, he's a cyborg samurai that can regenerate it later, so it's not that big of a deal. Nanashi keeps having these conflicting arguments between
I can't help you. He needs help. It's like, you need to help him. Like,
but I can't. And then the students that are just like basic samurai are going to the cake tank,
trying to do something. Clang, clang, clang.
Yeah, regular sword. It's not gonna cut it like butter.
Yeah.
And they just tell him, "Give up, fools." And Nanashi just like, "Oh, I can't do it. Right hand, you need to do it." "No, you can't."
You're not your left hand. You're not your right hand.
Yes,
You're you.
You.
You control your hands. You control what you do now.
Right. Now we have another volley being fired, and Hachimaru again still gonna try and pull out that sword, but this time there's another hand there, and it allows him to draw it, and the blade cuts into the cannon round.
Yeah, and splits it in between them, left and right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a cool shot.
It is cool.
I'm not sure if
that is not the one.
Okay.
You will see which is. I will tell you which one, because we will go over it, because that's what we do here. Nanashi surprisingly stepped up, but good. That's development.
Yeah.
Very quick development, but hey, I'm fine with that.
You used me for character development. Like, yes, he did.
And they're like, "What? What's going on?" Hayataro turns into flying mode, and then they jump down and strike the cake tank. And it's this shot of it being split, and I was like, I gotta include that.
Yeah, the detail work of, because
the inner mechanics of it.
They called it their home. No one can break our home. You can see a lot in here. You can see drawers, some clothes, a bunch of ladders, their baths.
And also, these pig people are actually just people that wore masks that made them look like pigs.
Yeah. Like, okay, well, they got rid of, like, an entire race of pig people that I thought existed. That's okay.
They could still have pig people, because this is supposed to be interplanetary.
I demand pig people, Ryan.
Sorry, zombie pigmen from Minecraft are not coming here right now.
Alright.
Not right now, anyway. And they're not zombies, so don't have to worry about that. I want a zombie planet. Give me zombie planet. So, Hachimaru finds his katana, because Hayataro apparently knew where it was, but didn't give it to him. It's okay. And he's like, "Oh, well, you're not just a friend, you're a samurai friend." And then Nanashi's like, "No, I'm not really interested in that. Instead, I want to be cutting a cake with you," inferring that she wants to marry him. If they reveal that it's a guy, still alright with that?
It is a guy.
They keep saying girl.
They said the body was born a guy, but he feels like a girl. They said that the last chapter.
I have to reread that, but I thought that
they might change it, but that's how they have it right now. I can guarantee you that.
Honestly, it could go either way. It's one of those characters where you can't really.
They can go either way, huh?
I'll let you have that one. That's what I was just like, yeah, let's see if we'll go for the low hanging fruit. All right,
absolutely.
There we go. That's that hanging fruit.
That's how I survive. That's how I survive eating all the.
It's within reach. Okay, so yeah, it's like I want to meet you when I have my true name and be more than friends. And they're like, oh well, that's fine. And she keeps saying that's why I keep calling it a her.
Yeah. Don't be ridiculous. He's a man, only in physical terms maybe, but she's a girl at heart.
I don't know anymore.
Anyways, yeah. So they're able to save the dojo, and we get to talk with a little bit.
The ending,
with the other characters.
Yes. This interaction at the end of the chapter, the last 1.5 pages, was actually very interesting because Daruma asks Hachimoto's father why he has the samurai soul and why he kept it in there.
Only if his son were to die would this thing be released.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, you're just exactly who is Hachimoto and who are you? Because he draws the soul on him, turns it into its blade form, and extends it right in front of him, and he doesn't flinch. It's like, you're not an ordinary thief or person. Who are you? So he wants to know who Hachimoto is and who Hachimoto's father is.
Yeah.
If he even is his father. Because I don't see much resemblance, but I don't know.
Yeah.
He could have Pinocchio'd him for all I know.
Yeah.
So yeah, chapter 135 of Promised Neverland. We go back to the present day with Norman finally having the meeting with Dawn and Hilda. God. I was like, Gilda. Similar sounding names.
And Norman wants to speak with them because wants these two more adult people to track down Sanju and Mujika.
Yep, because they know who they were.
Yeah.
And they were friends.
Yeah.
And in order for Emma's plan to work, they need to have that type of blood where they can make the demons be able to survive without eating humans.
Yeah.
So his reasoning here is not flawed. It makes sense.
I want to believe in Norman
and the positive light.
Norman and Emma, I want to help their plan too. I can't be directly seen helping them, but I do want to help them. So make sure you find them and protect them as best as you can.
And
how can we track them down?
Yeah, it's been 2 years. They could have moved on from where they were.
Yeah.
As Dawn points out, and Norman, being next level Norman,
has
a map of all the places that they're likely to have gone or are currently at, and he has them all marked with X's. And some of the locations he points out kind of make sense. He even was able to accurately point out where they were when they were with them 2 years ago.
Yeah, in the super tall mangrove trees that sucked them underneath.
Yes.
Okay. I'll assign you an escort to go along with you to make sure you guys would be protected. Can you do this for me?
And then we cut away. We don't get a direct response from them right then. Mm-hmm. And after they've left the meeting, they're like, "Well, what do you think he means?" And then they're like, "Well, I don't think that he means what he's saying. I think he's trying to use this as bait, so that way they can, because they're gonna trust them and assume that they're on their side."
Yeah. So you trick your friends to trick your enemies. It makes sense.
It's sound tactics.
Because the people who are trying to protect you, being used as bait, can't lie. they don't have that nervousness that someone would be around. That
oh yeah, I'm totally
I
not
don't
going to
want
betray you.
I don't want them to find out that I'm actually going to betray them.
Correct. So we find out that they actually did agree to Norman's terms, and they're like, "All right, we got all our stuff together, but we're going to pretend like we're cooperating, but we're not going to. We're going to protect them."
Yeah. Which is still going along as bait.
Yes, it is. So Hayato is chosen as the escort, but he's not alone.
Yeah.
And actually, some of the kids point out, they're like, "Really, you?"
Yeah.
We're introduced to a new character. Her name is Aishi.
Aishi. Yeah, that's how I read it.
And she has wolves with her.
Yeah.
Like
expert shooter, good at communicating with these wolves.
Mm-hmm. And they try to introduce themselves to her, but she just like, and like looks away, and it's like, Hayato's like, she doesn't understand you. She's a special case.
Yeah.
She was kept by a
not
demon.
from Lambda.
Correct.
Yeah, she was
kept by a demon, and she was actually saved by them. In particular, Norman was the one that went up to her and basically convinced her to come along. So
you could say
wolf child.
She's very in tune with nature, but also with Norman's words being law. Like whatever he would say to her, she would have to obey.
So yeah, we won't let that happen. As far as like anything bad happening, it's like, don't worry, Emma and Ray, we're gonna hold down the fort and make sure everything
until you come back.
Yes. And this last half page. Okay.
Ray walking, adult Ray
walking with a baby that looks like Emma.
And just saying, "Damn it!" Like so many questions.
Is that? See, this is my thought. I'm like, okay, so in that world, because they were able to change ages like randomly.
Yeah.
Either that's a regressed Emma, or that's a kid that they had together somehow in this other world.
What if their years are tied with each other? He gained the years that Emma gave up. So now she's a child, and he's significantly older, stronger, able to make it through this wilderness that he's in.
True, but the last chapter also made me very confused, because it ended with like, or it had old man Ray.
Yeah. Not knowing where he was, right?
Yeah, he was like, "Who am I? I don't know who I am."
Yeah.
Old man Ray. But now we have adult Ray with baby Emma or their kid.
I have no idea what's
I'm just like,
going on
oh, okay.
with that part of the series that split off into something else.
Interesting, though. It was definitely interesting. Next, number 8 is Jujutsu Kaisen, chapter 60.
Okay.
As I was saying, like, these 10 through 5, I could have put them in any order.
Yeah.
They're, like, decimal points of difference. It's all good stuff from here, in my opinion. Then again, I like everything in Jump, so I mean, I'm not disappointed.
Yeah, so Nita, the driver that was with the Jujutsu Coalition, sees that students are...
They're not in their rooms where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, so she gets in the car and just hightails it out of there, looking for them. Then we have the Supreme Rot Technique, Wing King.
Death by Wasp.
Yeah, with this curse user, and the thing on his back. Still terrifying.
Yeah, if I saw, I'm Bat Back. And his wings are dripping down onto a rock and smoldering it.
Yeah.
So it's very acidic, and Itadori is just like, don't touch that.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. And the wings
extend.
Yeah, they're not limited to a specific form. He's using them
to go and charge and attack them.
Yeah.
And so they start booking it and they start running, but Kugasaki isn't able to run fast fast enough not to get singed by it, and her hairline actually gets singed a little bit.
Yeah.
And then Itadori just picks her up, runs with her. It's like, I got your back.
Yeah. They don't have any. Oh, don't touch me there. Like, no, they are both in serious mode. They are in a battle.
Run or die.
They don't need. They can't think of embarrassing things right now of boys and girls like this. Like that really made me happy. Like about them. Like they are focused on this.
It's the mission before your pride.
Itadori with this.
Yeah.
Running. I'm like, okay, yeah, he's full sprint.
And then we have more panels. I'm like, oh wow, what speed is running away? And they're like, okay, I think we're out of range. And then they have like a minute pause, and then the skull Ojama curse spits on Itadori. It doesn't get Kugasaki, but Itadori's eye is covered with the nasty vomit spit. And then as she's freaking out over him being attacked, she gets stabbed in the back.
Yeah.
And then like her arm also gets hit by it.
Yes. The rot starts infecting her
from the wasp one.
Yeah. It hurts a lot. Like,
and their techniques are linked.
Yeah. So the blood that touches them, it looks like they have roses tattooed all over themselves.
Black roses.
Yeah.
Dragon.
So, membranes, wounds, like...
Apparently it's a very nasty process.
Yeah.
And
you'll only survive for...
about 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Kugasaki, 10 minutes. He said Itadori, 15.
Yeah. No, like, I'm giving them a little bit extra time. Or I'm telling them a little bit extra time, but it's actually less.
By morning, apparently, there'll be nothing but bones left.
Mm-hmm.
And their technique is decomposition. And this is where we're actually introduced more to where the cursed wombs came from. That's an entire backstory on that.
Yeah. Which I wish we got a little bit earlier. Like right after they were stolen. Instead of the baseball episode.
See, I was thinking that too, but then I realized it kind of makes more sense to place it there. Because if they didn't place it there, it would have revealed that the Skull one and this guy were linked early. So it leaves it up to interpret. It's just like you would like, because all the curses for the most part just kind of congregate together, but they're not like related siblings.
That's why this one, the Ojama one, refers to him as brother.
Yeah.
I get it now. Just now, that clicked together for me.
And then I was just like, that's a much better place to put it, was right there.
I can appreciate that more with your explanation there. Yeah, so there was a woman who created these embryos, these fetuses, that they were essentially cut out of her at different periods of the fetus's growth.
I was gonna say different states, different trimesters.
Yes.
I was trying to think of another term. I was like, it's
not trimesters, because trimesters is just 3. There's a lot of them. There's 9.
Yeah, trimesters are like weird.
The trimesters are just 3.
Are they by months? I don't know how long a trimester is.
Trimester is 3 months.
Is it 3 weeks or 3 months?
3 months.
She had them cut out of her at different points, so you have like the...
Yeah. They weren't able to be destroyed at that point because they wanted to...
They were cursed objects worthy of special grade, so they just kind of like sealed them away.
Yeah.
And they didn't really bear any hatred towards the sorcerers. And they had no memory of their mother either.
Yeah, so there's no ties there to...
They just... I was like, wait a minute. I hear that too.
Yeah, so they had no ties to humans.
But they did know of each other's existence.
Yes.
So...
It's creepy.
Yeah, could you imagine like staying in a test tube for 150 years knowing that your siblings are adjacent to you?
Yeah. Ugh.
And the eldest sibling, which is one that is just barely introduced, states that they should side with the curses. And they should basically rebel against the sorcerer so they can have true freedom. and that they should live for each other. Eso, which is the wasp one up to this point, should live for Kichusi. And Kichusi, which is the skull one, will live for him, and he will live for Eso. And they just called him brother. I don't think they gave the eldest brother a name
I do not think so.
yet. So it's like we three are one.
Yeah.
So that's why their curses are linked, and that's why you said that.
They're most likely sequential brothers.
Yeah, and if you assume that this was 1, 2, and 3, I don't have that image there, but it's like the barely
test tubes.
Small one, larger one, the largest one that has eyes. Could be different. Don't know. So anyway, Kugosuki is cursed, and says that that's a bad match for you.
Yeah.
And pulls out her straw doll technique and has the nail in her hand, and through resonance stabs herself through the arm.
And both brothers feel it.
Yes.
Play a game of chicken, shall we? Like, ooh.
It's a great ending. It's a great chapter.
Yeah.
It's cute. And it's putting her in a
spotlight.
Yeah, I think up to this point she hasn't been in the spotlight too much, because we already had the Itadori spotlight, we had the Megumi spotlight, and now she's getting the spotlight.
Yeah. Right now, Megumi's out of commission. I don't really know what Itadori can do, or is not able to do, because all he has is just that part on one side of his face and maybe part of his body. Like, he should be able to fight too.
But if she's doing resonance with the curses, if he were to punch the curse, would she feel it?
Yeah. Or is he going to be able to keep fighting them while she stabs herself, essentially hurting them again?
Yeah.
So
double damage.
They're being hurt. They're being hurt when Itadori hits them, and they're getting hurt when they're not expecting it by her. Like, that can really mess them up and leave them full of openings.
Yeah.
It's a really good chapter.
Next is going to be number 7, My Hero Academia, chapter 229. You're really not liking the villains, are you?
I might be a little bit tired of them, but I like this one.
This one I felt was like every chapter that they've been doing with the villains that has something like a little bit better happen, like an evolution of a type, or even just a character finally using their quirk more effectively. I'm still like, sold. Yeah. Shut up and take my money. Shut up and take my money.
I go into these thinking, oh, we're still doing this. Okay, yeah, whatever. But by the end of it, I'm like, I love this.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You added that. That character could do something now.
That's
awesome.
That's another one of these chapters. So we have all the twice copies grabbing Toga, and
they throw Twice out of the way.
Yeah.
And start holding him, and they're holding her down as well.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more on her. Like there's like 6 of them.
Yeah, and these are not actually Twice as far as the plot goes. These are just puppets made to look like him to break him psychologically, which is definitely working.
And I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit with that, but when you know the context, it's a little bit. So what's more messed up is, like, as you reveal later in the chapter, he is the original Jin.
Oh, I thought you were going to say that for later. But yeah.
No. So, but knowing that, you can see why he was freaking out, because up to this point, he doesn't know that. So he thinks that if he takes enough damage, that's why he's never, like, really gone out of his way that much to, like,
put himself into danger.
Into danger where he could break a limb.
Yeah.
He won't do that.
Because he tells us that upon taking the amount of damage of breaking an arm, breaking a leg, that's the amount of damage threshold one of his Twice clones can take.
And then they dissolve into, like, liquid.
Yeah, so he's never known if he was the real one because of the massacre that happened in his room.
Yes. So him not knowing that, was likely to think that these were just ones that escaped. So he would have no idea that these were actually just doppelgangers that were created through the anthropomorphizing of like refrigerators and everything that were human-sized by Tomoyasu. And then he sees himself breaking Toga's neck very slowly because I guess she's resisting it as much as she can.
Also, they're doing it to do this to him. They want to break his mind.
And he's just like, it's me. I'm killing her. Who am I? And Toga's neck, like this, the shot of Toga's neck here, and just like the cracking. It's like don't do that. No. And we see his past where everything started going downhill for him at about 16. He happened to run over somebody who ran out in the middle of the street, and it happened to be a client
of where he's working.
Yeah. So it was a contract, a person who worked at another place who his job had a contract with, and now they were threatening to cancel that contract, and his boss is giving him like a very hard time of it because of it.
So, like, get out of here, you're fired.
And so he starts slumming around, and then he creates a clone of himself to basically have a conversation with and get some camaraderie. And then he eventually starts making more and more of them.
Yeah, he made a gang of just himself.
And then they started committing crimes, and he had a crime spree. And then we have the scene of them all dying in his room,
you can't
killing each other.
A very good way of saying you can't trust yourself with a bloody room of pieces of your former selves strewn across the room.
Yeah, you got blood and the whatever they turn into, like goo.
Yeah. I guess the only way, since he was still tied up there, he knew all the ones that died were clones because they didn't leave a real body. They didn't do that to him, but also he doesn't know if any of them escaped.
Yeah.
So that's why he's always been afraid. And we see the contract maker guy talked to twice. What was his name again?
I actually didn't put it down this time. Insert name here.
It's their character picture here.
The guy we've been the League of Villains have been kind of trying to go rescue from Destro.
Yeah. The guy who
the broker kind of guy
doesn't sell out his clients. It's bad for business.
But yeah, he tells him about the League of Villains, and he's like, "Oh, well, that's kind of interesting." And that's where he'd found Toga.
Yeah, and he breaks out from the puppet's grasp, is just yelling for her.
Gets knocked upside the face.
Yeah, and everyone grabs a hold of him.
And Tomoyasu tells the clones to break his arms, breaks his arms, and he's like,
"It hurts,
but I'm still here."
He's so relieved that he's in pain, but he's the real one. I am the one in control. Me. So he sees Toga still, struggling, and he uses his quirk for the first time, and he releases a lot of twice. Maybe because he knows
my quirk is double.
Yeah.
You're gonna learn how terrifying it really is, Liberation Army.
Yeah.
Well, as far as we're aware, he doesn't have a limit on how many he can make.
No.
Which
we've
would mean
seen
that
some
he could
heroes.
make an army.
We've seen some heroes that do this. There was that guy with the fog, mist. He can create clones. The teacher.
I know who you're talking about. I don't remember his name, but yeah. There's probably a limit, but this is a really cool shot of all the different poses that he could take.
Yeah.
Just springing out.
Like, this is great. I love that chapter.
I was like, that's a good one. And that is a good one to end part 2 on.
Yep. Got one more. These can go pretty much in any order, but we'll have our final rankings on these in the next part.